Good evening, everyone, first of all. Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me fine? Perfect. First of all, thank you so much for joining the PM Night in London, hosted by the Product Management Festival. My name is Mihaela. I'm a product manager at Harri, as well as a Product Management Festival ambassador in London. So whether you've just started work or enjoying a glass of wine or a cup of tea, as in London is quite cold, we do really hope you enjoyed the talk this evening. Atul and I will be your hosts for this evening, but before we start with our guest speaker, I would like to take you a bit through what Product Management Festival is all about. So we established ourselves back in 2012 with the aim of connecting product management professionals from all around the world in order for them to share their experiences, in order to network and to grow themselves professionally and personally as well. Ever since, we have developed our product offerings quite a lot. And just to mention some of the things that we are up to every year are the conferences in Zurich and in Singapore, which happen annually, as well as the product management nights, which are essentially meetups similar to this one. Now, in normal circumstances, this will happen face-to-face, but because now we are quite restrained, most of them are online. They're essentially aiming to gather like-minded product managers as well as brilliant guest speakers that will share their experiences and providing a great opportunity to network. On top of that, we also offer a product management trends and benchmark report, which is now available to download for 2020. Please do go to productmanagementfestival.com website and download the latest report. It's basically accumulation of surveys worldwide held by product management professionals. So whether you are a product manager that want to learn more about where you're positioning yourself, or you're a head of product looking at recruiting and you want to learn more about the market, that's the best place to go to and download. And last but not least, our product management executive program, which is a 5-day training course in collaboration with INSEAD Institute. Happens yearly in 3 main locations: San Francisco, Paris, and Singapore. And it's dedicated for product management executives such as head of product, senior product managers, or chief product officers. All this information and much more you can find on the productmanagementfestival.com, but equally do let myself, Anna, or Atul know, and we'll be happy to assist with anything that you would need. The product management conference this evening this year is going all hybrid. So the event will be hosted between 11 and 12 of November in Zurich, as well as online. We have amazing guest speakers. Just to mention a few: the group product manager for Google, Mrs. Grace Danciu, as well as the vice president for global experiences from Booking.com, Mr. Ram Papatla, as well as amazing creative product manager leaders from Facebook, Shopify, Spotify, just to mention a few. For those who have joined the event this evening, you will benefit from a discount of 20% if you join just by using the PM Night discount, which is at the top of the slide here. On top of everything else, Product Management Festival is gathering every year a list of amazing females in product management across Europe. So whether you know an amazing, brilliant, and creative product manager, whether that being your colleague, mentor, your direct manager, or a client, please nominate until 7th of November, and let's make sure we celebrate as many female product managers as possible in Europe. As mentioned before, Atul and I are the Product Management Festival ambassadors in London. So if you have any questions regarding our offerings or any of the events, please don't hesitate to let us know. A bit of housekeeping before we introduce our guest speaker. The meeting tonight will be recorded and will be shared with you at the end of this session. You can ask questions in the chat as well as unmuting yourselves. We do prefer if people will freely ask questions, as it will help us interact a bit more. And also if you can leave all your cameras on so we can get to meet each other and know each other a bit better. But without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the Chief Product Officer at Harri, Mohammad Rabay'a. That's going to speak about what product people don't tell you about building products. Rabay'a has plethora of experience in the product management world, but with making sure I'm not missing anything, I will let the expert himself tell you a bit more about himself and about about the topic tonight. So do enjoy. Rabay'a, on to you.
Thank you, Mihila. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you today to share some of my thoughts and experiences from the product management and to hear from you questions, feedback, and be able to answer anything that I can help or support in regards to product management. So let me share my screen very quickly. Well, first of all, my name is Mohammad Rabay'a, known as Rabay'a since we have so many people with the first name Mohammad. I have 4 kids, wonderful wife, and a full-time job at Harri. I have about more than 13 years of experience building products. My experience varies from startups to well-established companies where I have gained experience in building products, mainly for ERP solutions, advertising networks, operating systems on the cloud, and finally, I kind of find my perfect job at Harri, where I started with Harri 6 years ago, I think, or more, where we at Harri, we are delivering the first human capital management software dedicated for service industry, where we deliver an end-to-end, in other words, a one-stop shop for service industry, focusing mainly on restaurants and hotels. The journey starts with talent acquisition, then through workforce management, where we provide rota or scheduling solutions, time attendance, and then we even provide solutions related to employee engagement. This is in a nutshell everything about myself. Now, why did I pick this topic? Because usually product managers pretend to show the bright side of their career. Also, there is a kind of a bias about product management, because most of people think they can do product management, which is something great, to be honest. Every one of us has a sense or a feeling of product, how it should look like, how I should build it. But the reality, people are not seeing the nightmares and the dark side of product management. So in this kind of event, I will try to highlight the things that people don't see or feel. They don't share on social media. They don't share on blogs. Usually they share the bright side of product management. So in a nutshell, I will do the following. I will go over the sections or the topics. So let me go over the agenda, and then we can have questions and feedback as we are done with the section. For each section I have. So the first part, we will highlight the think and feel, how I can think and feel consumer and build products that will be used by consumers, but it's mainly designed for enterprise. One of the big issues, and we will kind of cover this in more detail in the coming slides. Usually the big dilemma is to deliver software for enterprise, but also you want to have the characteristics of the consumer or personal software. This is one of the main dilemmas that product managers usually don't explain or elaborate more about them. Then the next nightmare, or let me call it, for product managers, Should I follow the science for prioritization when it comes to features and the products that I should build, or should I follow my feelings and do the art of prioritization? One important topic, I will not provide any context here. I will keep it as it is, abstract, opinion versus fact, and I will explain this a little bit further. Team harmony, just doing things, Nike in a nutshell, handling feedback. Usually this is one of the hardest things for a product manager. And finally, 0 to engagement. Okay, now building and thinking consumer product versus enterprise. It's simple. Personal software or applications are simple, very intuitive. They are engaging. They are open. There are no complexity associated with these applications and solutions. Usually you can think of WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat. Everything is easy, simple, straightforward. Life is beautiful. But when it comes to enterprise, you cannot apply the same characteristics or formula. If I want to build software for, let me call it for a SaaS company or startup, if you want to build something dedicated mainly for operational and for service industry, for example, in our case, it is more complicated than it looked like. You need to think about the complexity, the user flows, how you can create control. You have a huge risk to innovate certain user flows. You cannot do the Snapchat-like approach because you need to train people. You need to make sure that different personas can handle the software. And also you need to build it in a configurable, customizable way that suits the different use cases of the businesses. That being said, I have kind of find a quote, I don't remember where do I find it, that users usually pick the software they love, but they hate actually the software that forced on them, which is actually kind of, as a product manager, what should I do? I'm building for the enterprise, and it will be forced top down rather than bottom up. I as a user will not be able to pick the software. So our job as product managers usually is to align the user goal with the business goal. That is in a nutshell how it should be. This is the end result. Now, the real question, how should I do this? Now, well, there are kind of, based on my past experience, I can summarize it in 4 key points. The first point is simple user interface. Easier said than done. When it comes to the user interface, you need to think about the persona who will be using my software, age, different functions within the business, how they will interact with different departments and organizations within the business, how they can handle the tasks, and in a user-driven approach, an intuitive UI UX. And on the other hand, I need to keep everything complex under the hood, in other words. So the permissions, the configurations, it would be only for super users or for dedicated admins. The second part is the ugly truth. We are lazy, period. Users are usually lazy. They don't want to invest any time, any efforts in discovering the software. So if you build it very hard or very complex, they will not invest any 2 minutes or 3 minutes, even might look trivial or no time, but they will not invest anything to read your one pager or watch the 2 minutes video, yada, yada, everything related to walkthrough. It should be intuitive, easy to understand. I keep saying it, I'm not sure if my English will help me. It's like the joke. If you explain it, it's not funny anymore. So it should be straightforward. It should be easy to understand. The third point, and kind of now if this event is recorded, so product managers will hate me, we call it ego analytics. It's bias, in other words. We as product managers usually like to hear or see the statistics, the data that supports our opinion or the decision we have made. So, oh, our software looks great, so I don't want to spend any time investigating it more. I see only the bright side. I ignore the dark side or the unused part of my software. So if we remove this bias and start looking to the software in a different way without the ego we have, that this is my baby, this is the product I have built, I will start seeing things in a different point of view. I can see users' perspectives and businesses' perspectives as well. Last but not least on this regard is be laser focused, which means that if I ship a software or a feature, what is the ROI? No one will use your software. Yeah, they are paying money for it, but they need a reason to use it. If there's no ROI, or I'm not saving their time, their efforts, I'm not improving their daily routine, then I'm not shipping the product in a good way. And this kind of drives me to the next point, which is basically you need to create a trust in first place. So usually people are skeptical about the software you have shipped. They will start to break it down, find bugs, yada, yada, everything here. So you need to create a trust with the software you are developing. You need to make sure that it's simple, straightforward, and then you need to keep iterating. Now, usually we said that for enterprise, stop delivering releases every month or so. It should be 2 times a year and that's it. No. People keeps updating their apps on their smartphones. They keep updating everything. They see web changes on daily basis. So don't be afraid, try a few things, of course, with no radical changes on the enterprise side, but keep iterating and learn from the experience. If you remove the bias or the, as I call it, the ego analytics point of view. I will kind of, in order to translate this into a real example, we at Harri, as I mentioned, we focus on the talent acquisition. So we kind of took an example. Now, when you apply for a job in the hospitality industry, we said, okay, what is the real example of this? It's dating. You swipe left, simply, I will skip this job. But then we thought, okay, this is a job kind of thing. Why not to provide a simple icon that will switch this view from a tender-like to a list view? And again, it seems like it's the enterprise software and the consumer software. What about the prioritization? Now I have a big list of ideas, scratch pads for things that I can build. Now, if you go to the internet simply and try to search how you should prioritize product, you will end up with a big list of a matrix or something that will, it's a pure science. So straight to the point, you have the feature, you can break it down into benefit and cost. In other words, what revenue it will drive for my business, what value I will bring to my consumers or customers. Is it in alignment with the strategic value? It will cost an implementation, extra efforts for my team or for the customer. It will create an operational benefit or a heartburn for our customers. Or if I don't ship this, simply part of my customers will churn. And of course, you give a weight or a score from 0 to 10 for these features. You sum them, 1 + 1 = 2. And based on the weight, you will determine which feature you should execute first. And of course, the engineering team will hate me. I missed to add the complexity or the t-shirt size from their side. But anyway, long story short, this is the science. It's straightforward. I will not spend more time here. I think most of us read about this on the internet or found articles about it. But what about the art of prioritization? To be honest, what inspires me for this presentation is an old article. Maybe it's a 2-3 years old article, was on First Round Capital. It's from Bindora Experience. And actually it's kind of makes sense. You need to ask yourself, with the huge list of the backlog or your roadmap items, what would be stupid for us as a business not to do in the next 90 days? If the answer is yes for this feature, definitely you need to shortlist it. Then you don't need to spend time speccing, wireframing, designing, doing all the product stuff to verify the idea or prepare it. Just prepare it on one pager thing or on one slide. Hop on a call with your engineering team. Let them give you a rough or initial estimates. Based on this, of course, you can give it a score or a weight or $1 per hour or something like this. And then at the end, you can determine the list or minimize the list of features that you need to focus on over the next 90 days. And the last point is actually the lazy product manager approach. Imagine you are a lazy product manager. If you have a list of features and decided to ignore them for a while, who will be screaming for these features? You can verify also the fake urgency or the real urgency for the features you have on your list. Now, the ugly truth for product managers is mainly we tend to use both at the same time. And if you ask us, we will answer, yeah, it's a science, we know what we are doing. Actually, in most cases, we are not. But we discover this as we iterate, which actually brings me to the next topic, opinion versus fact. Simply, product managers and not only product managers, mainly the non-tech teams within a startup, usually they are dancing on the floor. And I'd like to explain this a little bit further. If you are in a party and you have so many people dancing on the floor and you are dancing with them, it's very hard to spot who's dancing in a good way or in a bad way. If you stand on the balcony for a few minutes, you can spot who's doing a good job or who's a bad dancer in a nutshell. Now, product managers are on the floor with their customer success, with their marketing, with their sales, with their engineering team. They have lots of things to do, and now they are focusing on small things. So most likely they will be misguided with the feedback they are receiving, with the requests they are kind of being added to their plate or their backlog. It's great, but to be honest, it's easier said than done. To stand on the balcony for a while, verify these ideas, think about them in a deeper way, which is, to be honest, maybe one of the hardest and toughest decisions that product managers make. The second thing is the data-driven approach. The reality check, and again, we will open the discussion and feedback. I believe it's something that more than 30% of product managers focus is not on data. It's most likely on feedback, direct feedback. We pay less attention into data. Even when we spec features, we devote a little effort or small effort when it comes to adding events, tracking, etc. We add them in a way that will support, again, our approach, or we have built something right. The last thing is, usually everyone comes with an opinion, but you should be able to counter-argue these opinions. You should support your opinions with facts. And you need to make sure that you are humanizing the flow you are building from a product point of view before digitizing it. If you monitor the analog way of doing things, this will give you a wider lens to plan your features or how the flows will be within the product and feature you are building. Team harmony. To be honest, I will give the credit here to our CTO at Harri, Firas Kayali. When we started working at Harri, we agreed that one of the kind of big challenges for any startup is the fight or the Cold War between product managers and engineering teams. Regardless of the peaceful kind of sphere you will see, or the presentation layer of the piece that you will see between product and engineering, there is a hidden fight. Products will do specs, then engineers will ask for detailed specs. If you provide detailed specs, they will ask, okay, we can think, come on, give us an abstract thing. And all of these things. No, I think shouldn't be a drop box, it should be a checkbox. And these are just simple examples of the fights between the engineering and product. And then, of course, when it comes to the QA, they misread the specs, they understand in a different way. UAT, oh, we discovered something new. What we did, and something we are really proud of, is the harmony between product and engineering in a nutshell. We lead by good judgment. If an engineer brings a great idea, then they own it, they do it. We appreciate let me call it the differences in opinions, or if we can do things in different way. This is one of the key things that usually product managers will not explain. The fights they have with the engineering team, which kind of will create lots of waste and affect the performance overall. So I believe one of the key things that product managers should do in a perfect way is to keep the harmony between their work and the other departments. So it's one team at the end. Your specs or your wireframes means nothing without the engineer who will build them, and also without the marketing who will market this, the sales who will sell this, and so on. So team harmony is one of the key things that usually we ignore, but it's in our subconscious. Okay, so I like this one. Okay, all product managers will feel this. Now, when you start thinking about building new products, to be honest, it's overwhelming. It's a nightmare. You start thinking about, well, the product I will build will be used, what type of features should I include? All of these things is a real dilemma, it's a real pain. And it's very hard to find someone talking about this from a product point of view. The hustle and the confusion, if I include this feature, will it affect the product? It will increase the time to ship it. What if I exclude it from the build or from the first version? Oh, it will not provide a product market fit. And all of these things will create a confidence issue, and it will be an overwhelming task even to pick a small feature or a small module within your product. Now, when you start thinking about user flows and scenarios, the happy scenario, the complex scenarios, literally, this is a sleepless nights. I can provide some examples when we build the digital I-9 form for the US. It's usually gave me some nightmares and a few days without even having a minute of sleep. Thinking about the compliance issue of this complicated form, are we doing it right? What we are missing, and all of these things. Now, when the second painful part is getting feedback from other people within the organization before building the product. You draft a scope for the product and people start giving you some feedback. You simply you have a self-doubt. Or another thing is a fight. Oh, you don't understand the complexity I'm running through. You don't understand, and all these discussions. So the solution for these things is one thing: stop everything and just do it. Ship the product, learn from your mistakes very quickly, keep iterating. Of course, product managers usually give you the confidence that they are confident 100% with what they are shipping, but they don't know this until they ship it, unless they are copying something and they are risk-free with this one. Okay, handling feedback. Oh gosh. Product is your baby, and everyone giving feedback, you will take it personal, period. You will try to find any excuse possible. You will pretend that people are not understanding your product, but at the end, it's not personal. You should stand on the balcony, listen to the feedback, analyze the persona. Then based on your listening, as you listen more, you understand more, you will be able to analyze the request, the feedback you are having, and then to action it very well. Remember, nothing is perfect. When you ship a product, it will never tick all the boxes, period. That's the reality. You need to focus on certain functions, features within the product, and then try to iterate and build on top of that. The fourth point with feedback, we are a visual-driven human beings. So the best thing to do is to prepare wireframes, to prepare interactive mock-ups, visualize your ideas, try even to visualize the feedback and provide options to at some level. But we need to ignore this part of bias and remember it's not personal, it's about the product you have shipped. And if it's good, you will receive more and more feedback. Okay. Any questions, or should I keep going?
We have a question, Rabay'a.
Sure.
How do you decide when to grow the team and take on more when growing? The pipeline is always there, so how do you know when to ramp up?
Well, it's a very good question. First of all, back to the prioritization. In order to grow your team, you need to have a certain, let me call it, things to tick. First of all, you are utilizing the team to the max capacity, in other words. And max capacity does not mean that they are working 12 hours a day. It means that they are utilized in a way that will you will not need any extra resources, or they can handle the feedback, iterate on top of the product you are shipping and building. So there are certain indicators here. The first one is, first of all, your team is utilized and you need more resources to handle this. The second thing, the pipeline you are building, again, back to the what we will look, what things if we don't do now or within 90 days we look stupid. If this pipeline is bigger than the team you have, definitely this is an indicator to grow your business. And of course, there are other non-product related items. The first version of the product I have delivered is ticking the box. It's a product market fit. My sales is growing, or the user's engagement is increasing, or the number of acquired new users is kind of meeting the targets or the expectations. All of these are non-product or non-product-ish related items. But as you have indications from these different KPIs, then that is the green light to grow your team. The second thing, when it comes to the product organization in general, getting product managers up to speed, given that you have shipped your first version of the product, is not an easy task. They need to know the hard part of the software you have shipped, and this usually takes time. The second thing, they need to understand and completely analyze the persona they are serving. Usually this takes 3 to 6 months, if not more, with a rockstar product manager. Now, adding more product managers or more engineering to the team will slow them down and drive maybe negative effect or something not good or as expected to the team. So you need to add them gradually with a solid plan that aligns with the roadmap, with the business goals in general.
That's all for now.
Cool. Zero to engagement. Let me give you an example. Everyone, I think, uses Instagram. Now, if you remember when we used Instagram for the first time, you will kind of start following some people. You will look to the nice photos that you see on your feed. But this will not drive engagement. Engagement is actually starts when you post a picture or something you like, and your friends and connections start tabbing on that picture, writing comments. This is where you start looking into the app in daily basis and even every hour or so. So in order to drive engagement, you need to do a few things. The first thing, you need to keep your software or solution, whether it's a consumer-based solution or an enterprise, you need to keep it simple. And I hate the last is in the KISS word. It should be keep it simple, smart, not stupid. So you can build on top of this, you can scale the solution you have provided, but again, simplicity is the key. And remember, one of the bad things when it comes to product managers, if they say, okay, if I don't know anything, I will say, okay, you know what, let's keep it simple, let's keep it configurable. So I provide two options. In this case, usually product managers are not sure about what they are building. If you pick one path or one option of the software, of the UI, of the features you are building, then you know what you are doing. Of course, you are risking it, gambling kind of thing, if you don't know the users. But at the end, try to keep it simple with this configuration as much as possible. Number two, if your software is saving time and effort, then people will start using it. If no, trust me, no one will use a software that will not save them time and efforts, will not improve their operational and daily routine. So again, be the user and try to see and sense the benefits from the software you have built. Of course, no one will nail it from the first time. So you need to iterate and improve your software, I believe, on weekly, if not weekly, then monthly basis. Keep updating your software and features. The last thing is a kind of an odd point that based on the guidelines when it comes to UI UX, we say that people don't scroll, people hate extra clicks. No, people do scroll and do click if you do it right. So long story short, since the release of the iPhone in 2007, people keep scrolling. You do this on daily basis on your WhatsApp, on your iMessage, on your Facebook, LinkedIn, and you name it. Why on my software people will not scroll? Oh, keep putting everything above the fold. No, you will have a jammed screen. No one will kind of start looking into that screen to find the small widget or the small text or the guidelines you have added to that page. Just make scrolling and clicking gamified. In other words, I don't know if you have played Candy Crush. As you complete each stage, you feel that you have accomplished something, you are doing something, then you scroll, you move to the next step. Few weeks ago, I found an app called Puzzle, which is basically a simple plus puzzle game. So the real part for driving engagement, every time I solve one of these puzzles, it will tell me, oh, you have few seconds to be within the top 20%. Oh, I need to challenge myself. Then the next step, they tell you, oh, you have 2 seconds to be among the top 5. If you gamify the software, even for enterprise, you will drive more engagement. People will start interacting with the components and everything you have built within your software. Last but not least, product managers are like any other people within startups or organizations. They take it as a job or as a career. So what actually distinguishes a specific product manager from another product manager is passion about the software they are building. Passion simply will drive building products that you care about, handling the feedback in a not personal manner, keep iterating and challenging every new idea in order to ship it and build it in the perfect way. So that's it for me. Am I on time?
Perfectly on time. Any questions? Anna, can you help unmute everyone, please? Someone would like to share a thought? Yes, please do.
Hey, this is Rabay'a. I'm a research scientist and developer at Insoft. I know Rabay'a for a while, so I've been working, I think, with him probably 10 years ago at Ghost. He was like still doing product management at that time. But yeah, I wanted to share something that was interesting when I was working for Amazon like 4 years ago. So there's kind of like interesting exercise they do it between product managers and developers. So when a product manager come up with like an idea or like a feature they want to implement, so they would ask the developers to write like an article or a report or a news report about the features they want to implement. And they write it from that perspective that they want to tell the customer about that new feature. And they try to mock up that story in an interesting way for the customers. And that will like share the thought with the product managers and say, okay, now I understand what the developers is understanding about that feature. And there seems like misunderstanding or like he understands the idea with it. So that was really an interesting exercise that we were doing. And I think it's really helpful. Like if you have the knowledge that the product manager would have, that will make the team harmony and less fights, of course. Thank you, Rabay'a, for the informative session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a brilliant idea. Like it.
Another question, how does product builds fit best with product marketing?
Well, I think well, let me step back. I believe one of the big responsibilities for the product manager is to make sure they understand or they have been part of the why for the feature. Now, if we do this and understand why we are shipping or building this product in first place, this will kind of drive the next stage, how and what with the engineering team and with the people building the software. Now, as I ship the software, if I have perfected the why, how, and what, then product marketing is no difference from the product. They are the people who can basically describe the product in a way that end users will see the why in a simplified and straightforward way. I think one of the real challenges when it comes to product managers is to explain the product to end users in a way that is easy to understand for one reason, because we have in our subconscious few things that are obvious. I have built this product, so I would expect everyone knows the A, B, C, and I should explain D. So we skip the first 3 or 4 steps. And this job cannot be done in a perfect way, except from one who can work with the product managers and work also with let me call it the implementation teams, the customer success team, the other departments within the organization. So they collect this feedback and understanding of the A, B, C, and D of the product and market it to other or prospects within the prospects for this product and feature. Hopefully I answered this question.
We have another question, actually 2 more. From your experience, what is the ideal and cost optimal way to get user feedback for a commercialized product?
Yeah, well, it's a very good question, and I doubt there is a perfect answer for it or a silver bullet. Two key criterias. The first one is value. The second thing is persona. Let me elaborate more about these 2 things. First of all, when it comes to the value you are bringing, you need to provide ROI for the customers. So when it comes to the commercialization of the software, people will not pay unless you are providing a value. Now, the value is kind of the value you are bringing to the customer is very close or relative to the price or the commercial side of the product. The second thing is you need to test and verify because there is literally no perfect recipe. And one of the great examples is the freemiums or in-app purchases or the different models. But again, if you deliver for the enterprises, then definitely there is a different way to do the commercial part of your product. And it's also one of the main drivers of how you will design software. Because if I'm thinking about how the organization will implement my software, then is it a location by location pricing? Is it per employee? Is it per month? Am I pricing different products as premium products? Again, there are different approaches and it varies from one case to another case. It mainly depends on the product. So it's all about the value you are bringing and also what type of users are using the software. Imagine, in other words, building a WhatsApp-like application right now. Why people will pay for this app? How I will commercialize this app? I think one of the main concerns, as an example, is security now. If I provide that your data is hosted on an encrypted servers or in your mesh, in your device, yada yada, all these things that are concerns for people using WhatsApp, maybe people will start paying for this. Should it be free for the first version and with some add-ons? Again, you decide based on the people using the software or the persona and the value you are bringing to your consumers.
We have a couple of more questions. One of them being, what's the most exciting product you have released at Harri?
Can't count them all. Okay, these are my babies. So you are asking me which baby you like more. To be honest, I usually take the credit, but my team is the team doing everything. So to be honest, we have shipped so many products, but maybe scheduling or rota, as we call it in the UK, is the product I'm proud of for two reasons. And I'm not sure if Azam on this call. We have built that product, and literally before shipping it, we discovered that we kind of shipped a non-functional product after wasting few weeks of building that product, and that was a shock for us. And this is a good example actually about the bias thing. So when we were discovering how people are doing scheduling, we thought, oh, we are kind of missing something. Why people are not doing it in a template-like thing? And we decided to do it this way. So this product, we have suffered for with it. We had so many sleepless nights and kind of lots of smoking. But at the end, it's a product that is used right now, and we are very proud of it. We remember it due to the dark side of it.
Thank you for that. We have a couple of more. If a product iteration V2/V3, etc., versus new product were prioritized at a similar level, what do you think would be the best to focus on first?
Again, arts and science. It depends on your product demand. So if you ship something and it's a half-baked solution that you will perfect or deepen the experience of the product, then this is the time to ship V2 of the product. If you have kind of acquired, let's say, 50 or 60% of your target with the first version, it's the time to ship another feature and expand your reach. But again, I doubt there is a perfect answer because it depends on the circumstances and the type of the startup. There are two schools here, depth and the breadth of the software. Depth is usually if you are providing an enterprise, I think, and pure opinion here, you should focus on V2 before you move to the next step, because the next step will create waves and lots of also improvements for the new product. So perfect what you have shipped. If you are doing, it's even with an enterprise, it will depend. But the short answer, evaluate. If the first version of the product is ticking most of the boxes, wait and expand. If it needs extra efforts, then focus on V2.
Thank you. How do you measure the engineering team productivity from a product perspective, knowing they do the estimations in the first place?
Good question. You cannot quantify something unquantifiable. So basically, an engineer will sit, I used to be an engineer, but a bad engineer. So you can sit in front of your computer trying to fix a problem, and this will take 10 hours. One of my previous CEOs gave me an example a long time ago. He said, if you are working on a factory or in a factory, and you are expecting to produce 9 cups of glasses per hour, if you work 8 hours, this is 8 times 8, and I can measure your productivity. But with engineering and product, it's very hard to measure their productivity. Yes, there are so many tools out there, but if you think about it, stand on the balcony, you will figure out that you waste more time evaluating and estimating the effort and doing all of these kind of fights. No, this will require 2 hours versus 2 days. It should be trust. And this is why I focused on the part that we lead by good judgment. You should trust the engineer to do the job. You should give them the confidence. You as a product manager, you are a facilitator, nothing more. You need to make sure that the project is on target. You need to get the max out of the engineers. And remember, without their work, your product will not fly. So it's very hard to quantify, but I believe you need to create trust. If you don't trust the engineering team, then you are on the wrong job, or you need to change your team.
Cool. We have another one. Who sets the vision and strategy for your products? And are you involved as an owner at the beginning of this process?
Well, the vision usually it comes from the founder, and you cannot have the part of the story in isolation from the holistic view. So when it comes to products and startups, usually the idea come from the founder. The next step is they act as a product owners for the first year or two. Now, for new products, usually you as a product owner, you start owning the ideas. But remember, product managers are sitting in the middle. They are facilitating the ideas and the vision. So you have an overall strategy or vision coming from the founder. You as a product manager, you need to break down this vision and strategy into phases. What is the MVP? What is the shippable product? What phase one we should deliver? And all of these things. Now, the second part, all of the ideas, I believe if we get back to the roadmap concept, there are multiple stakeholders for the roadmap. One of them is the marketing trends. One of them is the ideas coming from product managers. Another one is coming from your sales. The third one is coming from your existing customers. So yes, product, they adopt the vision. They come up with better ideas. They try to improve these ideas, reshape it, finish it in a great way, but it's not mandatory to be the owners or the drivers for the vision.
Thank you. Does anyone have any more questions? You can unmute yourself if you'd like, or you can put them on the chat. I guess that's all. Thank you very, very much, Rabay'a, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. If you have any other questions or anything related to the talk today or to the product management festival, please do come to myself or Atul. And also Rabay'a will kindly share his slides and his details so you can get in touch with him directly. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miela. Bye.
Thank you.